First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Live from New York, it's the show that just wants to go out and have a good round one game, guys. Why are you trying to make it personal? You know what I mean? Just get some cardio in. It's the second hour of First Things First.
You better really hope
Your
Denver
Tin Man
rolls.
clip got tweeted out by us.
Tin Man?
You're about you saying the Lakers have no heart.
I didn't say they had no heart.
Well,
I said they went Tin Man mode.
No heart. Yeah. Go ahead.
Squeaky, squeaky. Knicks' large adult Slovenian son versus bruised Clippers. Could a first-round exit start an avalanche of changes for each team? Meanwhile, is Denver on upset alert? No. But right now, it's the most delicious segment in all of sports. We don't have a physical pie. We've got
Then
something
it's not
better.
the most delicious.
A great segment. It's time for Title Pie.
Thank you so much, Kevin
Potential.
Wildes. Before we reveal
Could have been.
my title pie, I want to level set. I crunched the Vegas odds,
Okay.
and I'm going to show you what Vegas's title pie would look
Right.
like. So here are the teams in the playoffs that Vegas have as less than a 1% chance to win. So they're not going to be on title pie. Now show us Vegas's title pie to give you an idea of how overwhelming they think this postseason is. They've got Boston with a 42.5% implied chance of winning it, Denver with a 25.5% chance, and the rest of the league entirely 32% chopped up. Now, if you add all those numbers up, you're going to realize their numbers add up to well more than 100. That's why betting futures is not the best idea, folks. If you like a team to win the title, bet on them in each series and just roll it over. Don't bet futures, but that's what Vegas has, okay?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what they're sucker
losing
guys. Exactly right. All right, now time for title pie. 0%ers. These guys. Listen, I feel badly putting the Cavs and the Magic on the 0%er line.
Really?
Yeah, because I think particularly the Magic have had a really admirable season. And they are sons of guns to play because of what they do defensively.
Right.
But they can't win the championship. And the Heat wouldn't be 0%ers, but with Jimmy Butler, their season could be over tonight, and if not, it's going to be over in short order because Jimmy's going to miss round one. So all those guys are 0%ers. Now to the 1%ers. Bruised beloved Clippers. I mean, Kawhi again, really? And get ready, America. It's your favorite, 8 to 14 days a year playoff Harden. Oh boy, I'm excited for it. Another 1%er. Listen, I'll be in the Garden for at least a game. I'll be in Philly for at least a game.
Wow.
I'm excited for this series, and I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see if Jalen Brunson does get in club superstar here in a few weeks. But they can't win 4 rounds. They can, you know what I mean? They can win 1 round. They can win 2 rounds. Maybe I'd give them a better than 1% chance to win 3 rounds. They're not winning 4 rounds. They're at 1%. 2%. If I can't interest you in playoff Harden, can I interest you in playoff Gobert? It tastes the same, just looks a little different. Also, I don't know if Karl Anthony Towns coming back was actually good for them. And that's not an indictment on Karl. It was just, you hate trying to work someone in right near the end of the regular season, a star in particular. See New Orleans dealing with that. Now they have a 2% chance because Ant-Man could be his coming out party. I'm not dismissing it. All right, 3%. Big series for Bradley Beal. He finished the regular season strong. He was healthy. He finally showed the idea of why they mortgaged what they had left. We know what we're going to get from Kevin Durant. The problem is for Phoenix to win the championship, they not only have to win 4 rounds, they have to win all 4 rounds in 6 games or less. Because you don't want to see Game 7, Devin Booker. I don't want to. Nobody wants to see it.
That's going to be great.
Next, Milwaukee, 4%. There is a path here, and the path is very, very simple. Dame and Chris Middleton cook in round 1, and Giannis comes back for round 2 healthy.
Oof.
That is the path, and that Giannis,
tough path.
That's why it's only 4%, but it's not an insane path. It's not an impossible path. There is a path. Similarly, 6% for Philadelphia. How healthy is Embiid? What are they going to look like against that Knicks defense? What is Maxey going to look like with definitely the most pressure that's ever been on him in his postseason career? And so I do believe that one of these 2 teams, 4%, 6%, Milwaukee or Philly, is going to end up in the conference finals. When they do, how healthy will their best player be? That, to me, is the question. 8% OKC. So round one, they basically earned the bye. Like, congrats to you guys. You guys get to move on because New Orleans is going to be without Zion if they get there. Sacramento, I'm not trying to disrespect the Beam, but no Malik Monk, no Kevin Huerter. Aside from that Warriors game, you haven't been good. And then they are hoping that Dallas and the Clippers go 7 games and is an absolute war. Yeah. And then Denver's got, in my opinion, the far tougher side of the bracket. And so you can see how they can do it. And if Shea can really take that next level, which is do it in the postseason. 10%. Los Angeles Lakers. So here's the thing. Brew, I think, gives them about a 20% chance to win the series.
Yes.
Okay. And if they win the series, Brew says they're winning the title.
If they win the series, I think they're the favorites.
Right. So that's how I came with 10%. Was again, and even if it's just 20% to win the series and then cut it down a bit round by round after that. And listen, they need what I was talking about with OKC. They need Phoenix, Minnesota, which could be the best series of round one, to be a 7-game war. Because and for those guys to really empty the clip against each other. Denver at 15%. Here's why. Because of what Victor Wembanyama did in Game 81, they have the toughest possible path they could have had, and they are staring at not having home court advantage in either of the final 2 rounds were they to get there.
That's true.
First, you've got to deal with the Lakers, who are there. Even if you think the Lakers got no chance of winning, not who they wanted to play in round 1. Sure. Then in round 2, you deal with 2 teams that believe they can beat you, that beat you for 1 or 2 games in the playoffs last year, that have a winning record against you this year, or at least played well against you, I should say, this year. So they're at 15%. So I put Dallas at 20%. No noise. Kyrie and Luka as happy as can be. The defense has been better. I think Jason Kidd's only improved as a coach over the years. And playoff Luka Doncic, the last time we saw him, was lighting the entire Western Conference on fire with Jalen Brunson and nobody else alongside him. And so I put them at 20%, which puts Boston as the remaining third of the pie at 30%. They have the clearest path to the finals of any team I can remember. They had one of the best regular seasons in NBA history by any metric, and they're already in the conference finals in my eyes, so they're 30%. Brew, that is title pie.
It's a good job. It's a good job, and I get why you picked Boston, overwhelming as the favorite because of the easier path. But I am going to take Boston down a couple pegs. Just because, look, they feasted on a much weaker, playing the Eastern Conference schedule is much weaker than what all of the Western Conference behemoths had to go.
They feasted on everybody, though.
They were 8-6 against the top 7 teams in the West. Okay. We don't even know the 8 seed yet. So 8-6 against the top 7 teams. And I think Denver, right now I feel like Denver, the Lakers, and maybe Dallas would beat them in the finals. So that's why I'm going to mess with Boston a little bit. Look, we know what their issue is, or one of them, the main one, clutch. All right? In the regular, overall, not clutch. Overall, they have the best offensive rating in the league, second best defensive rating. In the clutch, this isn't horrible, but they dropped to 6th in both. Shows you that they're not nearly as good in the clutch situations as they are during the regular game. And Jason Tatum, it's improved a tad, but 36% field goals in the clutch. You look at Steph, you look at LeBron, you look at Jokic, you look at SGA. Though they have sky-high shooting percentages in the clutch. He's 33% from 3. And Jaylen Brown is 20% from 3 in clutch. So my 2 best players who we know they're going to go to struggle in the clutch. And to win the championship, it's not going to be a bunch of blowouts. Mm-hmm. The games are going to be tough. So that's why I'm taking Boston down a little bit.
If only the town had more basketball scenes in it, maybe that part would be taken care of. I don't know, he's studying it a lot. I don't know, maybe it'd help out. Brew, I think you make a good kid.
Missoula
because Missoula's obsessed with it. What's their clutch situation in bank robberies? It's sky high. It just doesn't come up in the NBA playoffs a lot.
All right, Phoenix, Minnesota, first round. Earlier this week, I talked about why Minnesota could win this series. And now I'm going to do the opposite.
This
I don't
guy.
know. Why? I'm just presenting data.
This is Mr. Inconsistency.
I don't know how this series is going to go, so I'm just showing you both sides.
Series.
Phoenix, in March, or whenever we looked at their gauntlet post-All-Star game,
10 games.
we did several segments that are like, you know what? Phoenix is cooked. They've got the toughest schedule. Well, turns out, March they were okay. In April they were great, and their defense all of a sudden was the fourth best in the NBA. In that stretch, when they went 10-4, they beat Denver, they beat the Cavs, they beat the Clippers, they beat the Pelicans, they beat the Wolves, they beat Sacramento, so they're pretty good. Look, they beat the Wolves 3 times, all pretty convincingly, to the point that Anthony Edwards was blaming the referees. So I do buy a little bit of maybe the team that we saw for the first, 80% of the year has finally decided to gel. Now that Bradley Beal's like, oh, guess what? We did have enough time. Unlike the Nets, who never had enough time to really gel.
So I think that those are all legitimate points, and I think good points. I am curious to see how anyone, whether it's the Timberwolves or if the Suns win the next round, whether it's against Denver Lakers, how they guard Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Because as Durant is, by any metric, in my opinion, one of the 20 greatest players ever. I think he is one of the 3 or 4 greatest scorers ever. But as he gets older, he seems to be more and more annoyed almost by just physicality.
No, that's how you guard him.
Right. And so and it's almost what I'm going to say here sounds dumb. It's not that he finds it disrespectful, but like that's almost, he just seems annoyed by it. Like that, it's just like, what are you doing?
Because he wants it to be about skill.
Right, it does.
Let me just showcase my skills.
It does feel like that, like you guys are mucking it up.
Right.
And so I'm trying to give a compliment while also being honest about what I see.
Well, that's how they gonna guard him.
Correct. And I think Minnesota is equipped to do that to a degree. And how much will that bother him? And you know that if they get Denver in round 2, which I know is what you think, Aaron Gordon is just going to be putting a body on him and being a pain in the ass. And so I hope the Suns, no disrespect to Minnesota, I hope the Suns win. Because I want to see
how he handles it.
And I just want to see Durant deep in the playoffs. We haven't seen him in a long time.
Durant, since leaving Golden State, 13-14 in the playoffs.
Yeah, he has played 11 minutes post round 2. Right.